The Flux Defense Raider. Is it a PDW? Is it a pistol? Is it a weird Cyberpunk 2077 Blade Runner 2049 hybrid staple gun? Doesn't really matter because those are really cool anyways. So I really enjoy the P320 platform. Like this. This is a P320 carry. I mean, it's kind of a hybrid between a bunch of other things, but it's essentially a carry. This you can make into this because of the FCU, the fire control unit that you can switch out into any sort of, I guess, chassis, but grip module that you want. But if you want something a little different, you can actually make it into this. This is still a P320. This and this are very similar and basically the same parts. I took the trigger out of, well, it's an M17 trigger, but I had a spare M17 laying around. So I took that trigger out, got this chassis, the Flux Defense Raider, stuck that in, took a slide and barrel of, I believe this was an X-Carry Legion slide and barrel. And I just got a different slide and barrel for the other one, so I had parts laying around. One of the main reasons people love the P320 is because you can change it into this. You can change it into a race gun or a carry gun or a duty gun or a very futuristic staple gun. Again, extremely modular. Everyone loves that word, but you can make it into whatever you want, basically. I have a CGS Mod 9 SK suppressor on here. It's obviously the K version. K is in the name. There is a full-size version. It essentially is just longer, quieter. It might even work better for this, I'm not sure. I've had a little bit of troubles trying to get this specific thing to work very well. I'd say it's about 80% reliable, maybe a little less. It'll run. I have to put white lithium grease on the piston inside of the suppressor sometimes to make it, I guess, flow better. I have no idea why. CGS just told me to do that, so I did it. I do oil this thing quite a bit so that it does have a little less friction, because having this chassis on here, well, I guess having this on the chassis, it takes a little more energy out of it rather than just holding a pistol with your hands. But since you're shouldering it now, I guess a lot more energy just gets absorbed into the brace or the stock, and it needs more energy to run. So I had to get also a 14-pound spring, recoil spring inside of here to help it actually cycle. I do have accuracy issues whenever it is suppressed. I think that it's a little more than POI shift, because it's actually, anytime my suppressor starts coming a little bit unthreaded, because this is a direct thread, it goes wildly off course. But if it's very tight, if it's super tight, then it's dead on. But as soon as it, comes off an 1/18 of a thread, it starts losing accuracy big time. But it is a great suppressor. I would not make anyone shy away from it. It's just maybe find a way to keep it on really tight. And it's a great chassis, but whenever you mix the two together, it's a little bit wonky. Some other things I have on here, on my support side, I have a tactical dev. It's sort of like a gas pedal thing. I don't know the actual word for it. Just go to tactical dev and you can find it. Tactical development, I think, is the full name. I also have a Virtuous Concepts universal charging plate on here. That's the sort of T that you can see. You can charge it from both sides. So that's actually very useful. They make some where you can replace the front sight post and make that a charging handle. They make different ones for the actual optic plate that aren't T. Some of them go straight up, so they're not gonna be caught on anything outside of the gun. I also have an Armory Craft aluminum extended safety lever. You can replace both sides, but I don't see why. I just replaced my actual, well, I guess, dominant side, but support side because I use it with my dominant hand, but it's on my support side. Whatever. It's on this side, and I actuate it with my right hand. As you can see, I have a little baby light on here. This is just a light I had laying around. It's an Inforce APLC, and it's not even working. That's awesome. I think it came unthreaded. Oh, there we go. So it's an Inforce APLC. It's nothing special. Nothing against Inforce. It's just there's more powerful lights out there, you know, and probably, I don't know if Inforce is made in the USA. They might be. I'm not sure, but you know, it's just a light I had hanging around. On top, I have a Steiner MPS mounted on the Reptilia dot mount. It gives you a little bit more height. I don't think it's needed for this, the dot mount. I mean, you could get a flush mount and be perfectly fine, but it would make it a lot better for nods. I mean, if I bring this up, I'm not even craning my neck or anything, and it's just right in my line of sight. But again, it is pretty close to my eyes, so actually under nods might be a little difficult. You may have to get a stock that extends your length of pole about 3 inches, I think. And then it would be perfect for nods. I could see that for sure. But the MPS really fits this sort of Ana De Armas and Ryan Gosling Blade Runner vibe. It's super cool. I haven't shot the MPS or with the MPS a whole lot. I haven't put a huge number of rounds in it, but I have put it on my 300 Blackout and this, and it's worked great so far. I don't have any issues with it. It looks cool. It's built tough, and the glass quality is superb, and the dot looks great. So I have nothing bad to say about the dot. As it sits fully loaded with 42 rounds and a suppressor, this weighs 4 pounds and 12 ounces. So it's clearly not a carry gun like this would be, or even a 365 or something like that, much smaller. It's definitely not that, but it's also not a PCC because in my mind, a pistol caliber carbine has much longer barrel and you can reach out a little further. But I feel like this is a mix between a PDW and a pistol. I really don't know how to describe it. I guess you would just call it a PDW. As far as who I think this is for, anyone that has a backpack, anyone that likes to look cool, and anyone that just wants a fun project, or if you have maybe P320 parts laying around, I really think you should get this. It's not a must-have. Obviously, I think a pistol and a rifle are much better, but again, if you have the money laying around to buy this chassis and actually build it out, then why not? If you want this as your main gun, so you don't have a rifle, you don't have a shotgun, or maybe you do and you just want to use this, I don't know. Good luck finding a holster. I mean, there's some companies that make them out there, but a lot of them that I've looked at are either way back ordered or just not offering it anymore. That just says out of stock. Or I guess you could always make your own if you know how to do that. But what I do is I just put on a sling. I just have an Edgar Sherman's design sling here. I just put it as a 1-point. I mean, you can put it as a 2-point, use the brace, but it kind of fucks up the actuation of the brace whenever you release it. So I kind of just run it as a single point, and that actually works pretty well. Overall, it's a fun build out. If you have spare parts laying around for a P320, I would recommend getting this if you already have another P320. Just build this out and you'll have a lot of fun. It's super futuristic looking. There's a lot of things you can do to it. You can throw a full-size optic on this if you wanted to. So I have a spare EOTech laying around. I've put that on this. It's actually pretty cool. You can put a micro dot on it, whatever you want. You can put suppressors on it. You can put a full-length slide, full-length barrel, short slide, short barrel, whatever you want. It's just a really cool chassis to customize a P320 in. It is definitely a specialty gun in my opinion. It's not something to replace a pistol, but I don't think it's also something to replace a rifle. If you're running this like a specialty gun should be, like a shotgun or something, I think you should have at least maybe another person with an actual rifle or something like that to be able to reach out to those distances that you can't reach, or do something that you can't do. But overall, if you are running this gun, at least you'll look cool while doing it. I'll see you on the other side.